Hey guys, so discussion post 1. Yes, this is right after I did my introduction post. I just changed the camera angle a little bit. Let's see. Who are my learners in this course? So my learners in this course are going to be fellow educators, teachers ranging from K to 4. I may actually be able to tweak it some to where I can include those 5 to 6 so that I can help with the intermediate school because they don't have a person like me, a technology specialist, on their campus right now. So I'm kind of going to gear it to where it could be anywhere from K to 6, but my specific target's K to 4. My teaching style, in fact, I just held a professional learning session yesterday after school. Was asked to help facilitate learning on Smart Notebook. And not just Smart Notebook, but Smart Lab activities. And so my teaching style is more of, I started off with them having an activity that they were engaged in. So I just launched a lab for them to start with, and it was self-paced. So there was like 6 different activities, and I gave them 5 minutes. I knew they weren't going to be able to get a lot of it done. It was all about Smart Notebook itself, but it was using the different activities that you can build within Smart Lab. And so I was like, all right. And it's funny because I set my timer on my watch. I was like, you have 5 minutes to explore and work through as much as you can. And then after that time frame was up, or actually it kept like 3 minutes, I was like, okay guys, so you have 2 minutes left. And they're like, what? All of a sudden it got silent in that room real quick because they were like, oh my goodness, we have got to get this done. And so I was like, pretty good. So I was able to start with their being engaged in their learning at first, and then after that I turned off the activity. They were like, whoa, wait, I wasn't done yet. And I was like, see, so you can get your kids' attention really quick just by turning the activity off. And so I was like modeling it as I was going. And then next was I said, okay, so now that you went in as a student, here's how you switch to the teacher format of it. And I said, and here is how you would start your activities. And so we started right away with, they were able to start building one that they were going to use within the next week or so, because I'd asked them to bring a worksheet or at least a set of questions of some kind or a concept that they wanted to go over and have some formative assessment ideas that they could automatically create. And so I start with a little bit of modeling, mostly letting them explore first, then I model it, and then together we start creating. And we have a follow-up session next week on Wednesday, where they're going to come, we're going to, not whole group, because that was like the whole campus, but we're going to start next week I'll be meeting with each grade level, and we'll be working specifically for an activity for their grade level. So I'm excited about it. My level of, have I ever taught an online or blended environment? In the classroom, when I was a math teacher, because that's what I did before I started doing technology, I taught 6th, 7th, 8th grade math with a little bit of high school algebra throughout my 13 years of teaching experience. And my very last year, well, my last 3 years, I started, I guess, dipping my toe into the blended environment to where I would start having it. We're in a low socioeconomic district, and so I couldn't exactly just say, okay guys, so pull out your phones, and because like not all of them had them. I hardly had any devices in my room. So what I had to do was I did a blended environment with a station rotation in there. So the kids would go to one station and they'd watch the video that was that came with the online textbook. They'd watch that and they'd work through a couple activities, and then they'd rotate to the next section. I would be right after the video. So they'd watch the video first. I would be walking around and just monitoring other student stations first, and then after they watch their video and they rotate to me, I would then be working with that group, seeing them do what they either watched a video about or we tried before. And so it was a really good experience for me as a teacher to start it that way, to where I couldn't rely a whole lot on the online side of it. And so it taught me what few things you could put in there and what else really needed to be done face to face. But a completely online classroom, no. I've never taught it, but I've experienced it quite a bit. In fact, this is number 9. But not to mention, I've taken a couple MOOCs, never really completely finished them, but I've started some MOOCs. My content area on technology integration in the classroom is pretty high. So that's pretty high, and then my ability with technology itself is fairly high, and so I think that's going to be easy. It's the hard part is what do I put in the blended or in the online portion of it versus the hands-on portion. So it's going to be kind of tough for me. Now, I know mine's going to be mostly of a constructive and connective because they're going to be building on what they already know and working to build those connections within what they've already got. Let's see. And I'll tell you right now, backwards design is going to be big for me because for this particular course, I'm going to have to sit there and say, okay, when they're done, what do I want them to know how to do? And then from there, I can step backwards and say, okay, what do I need to show them so that they can do that? And so that's the part that I'm getting ready to sit down right now and start working on so that I can get that first assignment done. I just set up my Schoology class today, and unfortunately I don't have a whole lot of time during the week, and a lot of my time gets done that last little bit Thursday. I'm like, let me get that first discussion post in, and then I spend all of like Friday night, Saturday, and all of Sunday finishing it up and tweaking it. But you're welcome to come to my portfolio and check it out. I'm working on adding some more things that I do in my in my day-to-day job. I'm going to add some of those resources in there also and start hosting them there. What I started now is my personal little pet project is the Tech Tidbit, Carter's Tech Tidbit. Totally got that. I know that Diana Teal does her Teal's Tech Tidbits or Techno Tidbits or something, but mine is, I'm doing it to call my little 10-minute sessions because I didn't want to take a whole lot of my teachers' time when they're having their planning sessions, but I know I needed to schedule some because if I didn't schedule it, it wasn't getting in there. And I felt like I wasn't doing my job if I couldn't get in there. So I asked my teachers, I said, okay, could you give me 10 minutes every other week? And we'll see if we need to meet a little sooner or not. And so some teachers I meet a little sooner, like they're like, hey, okay, let's finish up what we were working on. Or I've got an idea based on what you said, let's go there. So I think forcing my way into their classroom for 10 minutes every other week, so that's like 20 minutes a month, is not a whole lot of time for professional learning. But I think it's a lot of time for opening those doors and getting the teachers more willing to work with me. And that is my goal, getting the teachers to work with me. So, what do you think of my course plan? I know I don't have my beautiful overall, but I'm still working on that. Making sure I know what I'm going to put in there. So that's the list I get to brainstorm now. So if you got any ideas for me or any suggestions on, like, what do you think a teacher would want in their online class on how to use technology within their classroom? Would you want it geared more, like, I know I'm going to have some COVA in there because I want to talk about how you can incorporate choices, but then I've also got to go, and if that's the case, good Lord, how many different, apps do I show them? I mean, do I show them like all apps, or like, I don't even know all the apps, or do I show them like the ones that I really like to use? Or I guess it depends on the type of devices they have, because some devices, if they've got Chromebooks, Flipgrid's good, but it may not be as good for them with the Chromebooks as it would be with like the iPads, because Flipgrid works really well with iPads. Same thing with like the app class Kick. That's great with iPads because the students can write directly on the screen, and the teacher, you can see what they're writing, but it's not so easy on a Chromebook because you can't see what they're writing on the screen because they're not writing, they're typing. And then it's just, anyway, I guess it's just a matter of showing a little bit of everything and letting them choose. Let me know what you think, guys. I'm going to need some help here. And I am so sorry that this thing is so long. Y'all have a good weekend, and I'm looking forward to hear what you got to say.